Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Calling Show, a show for you guys to get your opinions on, and we love it as a community that we can get everyone's opinions. And we're actually coming off the back of Erik ten Hag's biggest Premier League win, and it's an away win at Goodison Park. It was a good day all round. I'm joined by Double A. Double A, welcome to the show.
Afternoon, thanks for having us back.
Or Triple A, I should say, if anyone was watching the last one.
Triple A, my new name. No, honestly, yesterday, you can cut the bones off everything in terms of the performance, and obviously Everton were definitely in the game, but to go to Goodison Park, to get 3 goals, clean sheet, some good performances, it's what we want, innit? We're talking about it, building on something.
I saw a comment that was like, oh wow, we beat a team in the relegation zone, but Everton were not in the relegation zone. They are now because of the 10-point deduction, but they're actually doing very well this season. So I think, yes, Everton had the chances, yes, they could have scored, and yes, on a different day it could have been a different game, but we won 3-0, we've got to be happy about it, and we keep moving forward. But the man of the moment, who's obviously on the thumbnail, and who I was saying is just looks like he's going to be unbelievable. If anybody's watching him in the under-21s, you would know people say he needs to show consistency, but he's such a good player and he's got so much potential, is Kobbie Mainoo, and he's really thrown a spanner in the works. Was there a plan all along for Kobbie Mainoo to be part of the first team midfield this year?
I genuinely think there is. I think you saw in pre-season that Erik ten Hag clearly has a plan for Kobbie Mainoo. He was trusting him all the way through pre-season and playing him consistently against Arsenal. He had a fantastic game, and I think it was such a shame that that injury occurred, because I think he would have started the season in the midfield for us, whether that would have been with Casemiro and Bruno or some variation alongside obviously Mason Mount being the major summer signing, or at that time he was, where that would have fitted in. But I think Mainoo was definitely the player Ten Hag was going to integrate into the first team from the get-go. Like I say, you saw it in pre-season, and it's just a shame the injury happened. And then I don't think Amrabat comes in to the club.
Well, the fact he's benching the signing that Erik ten Hag pleaded the club to get and paid a big loan fee for just shows exactly where he stands. And that was Erik ten Hag could have easily not gone with Mainoo yesterday, but he chose to do it and brought him back in, and masterstroke, and he was great. What did you think of his overall performance before we get into the callers?
Yeah, honestly, yesterday I have to say, Kobbie Mainoo was cooking last night. Honestly, that is one of the greatest Premier League debuts for an 18-year-old. I had to do that. Everybody has to do that. That's the Ainsley, by the way. That's the Ainsley Harriott celebration. That's what he did for us yesterday. Listen, an 18-year-old to come into a Premier League team that is underperforming in a position, a part of the team that's seen as weak in the midfield, and for an 18-year-old to come in and do that with that experience and showing that much sort of, or inexperience, but showing what you would expect to be like a player 10 years his senior. He come in and he looked like a seasoned vet, like he'd played that position all his life, playing in bigger games and bigger occasions and that, and it didn't bother him one little bit.
Looks like he just picked up where he left off in pre-season, didn't it?
Even further than that, he took it even a step further, because you expect a lot of young players. We talked about some young players that come in the team and they're often sort of, they do little moments here or there and they show flashes of why they've been put into the first team, and too much isn't expected of them. For me, he was the man of the match. I know there was a couple of, Garnacho got it for the goal. Onana had another solid game and could have got it as well. But I think to come into that team and to boss it and to show up a lot of international players and Premier League proven players on how to play. And, there's a lot of talk about this team that everyone drags each other down. When other players are playing bad, everyone plays bad. He's shown the opposite there. I'm not going to let you drag me down. If anything, I'm going to drag you up. And I'm going to show you these are the standards that have to be set at Manchester United. And for an 18-year-old to do that is absolutely fantastic. And
top draw, calm, so composed, and it's not an easy feat going to Goodison Park and bossing the midfield in the 6th role. Absolutely hats off to him, and that's why the title is Mainoo has to start. If you agree, if you disagree, make sure you click the link below and call in. But we have our first caller coming in. It is DZ, who's been on the show a couple of times, talking about should Martial stay or leave. Rumours about Martial possibly going in January. I think it'd be criminal to let him go during the season. But DZ, are you with us?
Hello, DZ.
Hey guys, what's up, Double A, my brother? What's up, dude?
What's happening, pal? How you doing? You okay?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
I'm all the better for hearing your voice, mate. Let me tell you.
DZ, let's get into it. Martial in January. Do you sell him or do you keep him?
If we have funds, I'd sell him. Just so I think we need better. But if we don't have funds, obviously we keep him. I thought he was excellent yesterday. It's nice to see a refreshing striker play. I loved it.
Well, thinking ahead to Galatasaray midweek. I mean, if Højlund's back fit, does Martial play with Højlund? Who drops to the bench? How does that work?
I've been saying for weeks now, Højlund. I know he's been scoring in Europe, right? But Martial, I think he offers more right now. I think Højlund has a really high ceiling, and he'll definitely be better than Martial. But Martial's link-up play we saw in preseason last season was incredible, and we didn't get any of it last year. I think he offers a lot for the way Ten Hag wants to play. I thought he was excellent. I'd keep the same team going forward this coming week. Or sorry, Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I would like to see Højlund and Martial together, though. I think they could complement each other a little bit better than what we're seeing with Rashford and Højlund at the moment. Obviously, a lot of people now talking, obviously, with Martial's contract coming to an end, and he's talking, you know, Faz was on it on the forum yesterday. If he continues this form, gets 10 to 15 goals and can stay fit and consistent, there's talk maybe we could give him another contract. Where do you stand with that? Do you think Martial could play his way into continuing at the club, or do you think it's probably best now after 9 years or so that, you know, we part ways with him and try and get someone new in the club in the summer?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's a great question, because I think a lot of time, I've said this a couple of times too, so I hate repeating myself, but we'll never win a league with Rashford and Martial, right? And I want to see my team win. I think, you know, he's been a great servant. He probably shouldn't have gotten this extension he got. I think it's time for something new. And the only reason I even mention him now is because Højlund's hurt and Rashford can't play the 9. So it's either Martial or false 9. And I refuse to play false 9. I don't think it works. So yeah, I think it's time for him to go. New sporting hierarchy above the club. It's time for him to go.
What makes you think that, I mean, obviously there's no doubting that Martial has been inconsistent over his tenure at Manchester United, but what makes you think you can't win the league as Martial as a second striker and a utility forward player? I mean, when he's not injured and he's firing, I think he's top draw. But you're not gonna rely on that consistently, so why can't you have him as a utility player?
I think he's inconsistent, and like you say, he's never really healthy. So, I mean, look, there were these stories that were coming out that, you know, he had put his body on the line so much under the Solskjaer regime that his body's just broken. So, again, and I said this on the last call, I love my club. I don't want it to be a retirement home, right? Martial, he couldn't score for Sevilla. He couldn't score last year.
He had a lot of injuries on that loan, to be fair.
But that's the tail of the tape, though, for a minute, really. That's his whole career in a nutshell. Too many injuries.
I just think you struggle to find someone now for a price that we'd be willing to pay that'd take up the role in a squad that Martial is, which is a striker there if Højlund's not fit, or you need something a bit different, you need some link-up play. His link-up play's top draw, I think, and he brings other players into play. He wins your penalties, which is a massive part of the game. It's literally no coincidence that while he's out the team, no penalties, he comes back in, penalties straight away. I guarantee if he played more games, you'd get penalties. I'm not saying he should start in centre forward every week, I don't think so at all, but to have someone there that can come in, like, what's the other alternative? Rashford plays striker? No, or you go and buy someone who, if you buy someone experienced, they're going to want to be starting.
Of course. Whereas
Martial, I think, can start games and also, you know, come off on the bench as well. You can do both. Whereas if you buy someone young, then you've got two young players in Højlund and another young striker. So it just depends, really.
You know, Beth, I hate to bring up City, but they bought Julian Alvarez for 15 mil. So now if we're getting legitimate people in the business now in the football club department, couldn't we go find another striker who's up and coming that does have a goal scoring record for less than 50, 60 million? I mean, if we're a serious club, that's how we
Leonardo,
need to
won't we, from Brazil? Marcos Leonardo, the player we're getting linked with, who looks, you know, another brilliant up and coming striker. The problem I find with that, though, myself, is we need a little bit of nous, a little bit of experience in certain games. We don't want to be over relying. You said it yourself, Beth. It's either we're too old or too young with what we're buying. There is that middle ground we probably should be looking at, but like you say, that comes at a cost. And a player in his prime wanting to have those minutes. I see nothing wrong with Martial being here for the season. I think that's, you know, he adds value. He adds something to the squad as a whole. The best part for yesterday for me was there's been talk about him not, you know, he can't start games, and if he does, he's going to get injured. He's kind of proven that that's not the case. He can last, and he was brought off at the right time with Wednesday in mind, and I think he can play that certain role for this season. My issue is, in the back of your head, or in the back of my head especially,
you can't rely on him.
There's always he's going to break down. Something's going to happen. He's going to get injured. And I've watched him live, and I still don't think he trusts his body enough in certain instances in the game. But you're right, Højlund needs that help, and we need different options. And you know, DZ is absolutely correct in what he's saying. He has attributes and offers something for the team that no one else can. No one else in our team scores that goal yesterday, or with that finish.
Exactly.
No one else is doing
Technically so gifted.
And I wish he could stay fit, because technically he's unbelievable, and it's a shame what has happened to him. But in the main, and you have to look at it over the 9 years he's been here, it's not been good enough. And we have a right as fans, and it's nothing against him as a person or as a player, but we have to look at the best interests of the club. DZ said it, we want United to win. I agree with DZ. I don't think United will win a league with Rashford and Martial. We need better than that. And the best ability is availability. And Martial sadly doesn't offer you that.
That's true. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that players play better when he's around. Like Rashford and Martial, people talk about that link up. People talk about the Bruno and Martial link up. I'd love to see him in the team with Højlund. I think Højlund would look a lot better with a player like Martial around him. Just keeps the ball. Exactly. And he's intelligent. But DZ, any last thoughts going to Galatasaray Newcastle this week? What are you predicting on them 2 games?
Yeah, well, I think we lose to Newcastle. I think we can tie, maybe even beat Galatasaray. I think we were really unlucky. I don't think they're that good. I just think the atmosphere will be tough. But I do want to say I'm not worried about Amrabat. I think yesterday Mainoo was incredible. I think if anyone should be worried, it should be Casemiro. Big wages, unathletic, older. I think Amrabat is the perfect guy to play behind Mainoo and be a squad player. So I am worried, Beth. I'm not worried about Amrabat. It's my guy.
One thing I would say is, do you think he was good when he came on yesterday?
I think he did his job to the best of his ability. I don't think he was that good, but to be honest with you, I don't care who you put in to subs off Mainoo. No one's going to be as good as that performance. It was incredible what he did yesterday. So everyone's going to look like crap compared to him. But yeah.
Well, the thing is with Amrabat, quickly, we'll just finish off on this. I'm personally quite worried because I was excited for him to come in, DZ, but he's not shown what I thought he would since he came in. I know he's not had that many minutes, but are you worried about this as a signing?
I'm not. I think again the barrier to enter 20 million euro fee is low for a defensive midfielder with what you're seeing with the way Chelsea did business, and I know Declan Rice is incredible, but the 100 millions, I don't think it's that, and I don't think his wages are crazy either. So I think the barrier to enter is very low, very good. I think selling Casemiro brings funds into the club because he's the profile that the Saudis want, captain of Brazil, icon, whatever. So I think there's a lot of business that could help the club move forward. I'm not worried. I think you're seeing with Højlund and Amrabat and not Mason Mount so much, but like the lack of preseason and the lack of integrating with the squad has really affected them, and they've been thrown into the fire of, okay, well, we need to win because we're losing games and we're not scoring goals. We need to win, and all the pressure builds up because we're Man United. I think that's what we're seeing. I think there's 1,000% an absolute killer of a player in the Amrabat profile. He just needs the time to actually like enforce. And you know what? He's a leader. Like, let that man lead. He's not a sheep. He's a freaking wolf. All right, guys.
DZ, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, mate. Good to speak to you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye. I mean, DZ always makes me laugh.
He's going to fight for Amrabat till definitely.
He will. I get it. Everyone has the players that you like. Like, for example, I really like Mount when he came in, and he's not done the business as of yet.
Yeah.
And you've got to be patient. But, you know, when Amrabat's on a loan, people are always going to question whether they should keep that.
We saw that last season with Weghorst and Sabitzer. You know, them two really divided opinion amongst fans and everything like that. Some people were doing videos on why we shouldn't keep him at the club, Beth.
Yeah, I don't think we should have.
No,
he's doing great for Dortmund.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But you know, with Amrabat, it's got to click. You know, I think we've kind of given that false hope in that first game, in the Palace game, when he seemed to get fans excited, and we've not seen that continue. And hopefully, you know, he gets the minutes in the game time to sort of prove his worth, because, like I say, we do need that quality in the midfield, and he does have quality. It's just whether he can do it on a consistent basis for United, really.
I just want to say quickly, to make it clear, I didn't go back with DZ because I know I wouldn't change his mind, but there's no way on earth I would have Amrabat over Casemiro. And Casemiro's not been good this season, he's not, but there's just no way on earth. Like, the goals that Casemiro can provide, and when he's at his best, the way he can play, is different levels.
Yeah, he's one of the best defensive midfielders the game's possibly ever seen, and I think people are too quick to jump on the back of this theory that he's done, he's past it. You know, it's like players can't go in bad form and play bad for a while. I expect him to come back and prove his worth. And listen, if anyone is going to get the most out of him, it's Casemiro and Mainoo will love being around him.
Together they could be a good combination.
I think that's what the plan was from Ten Hag this summer, unfortunately.
Well, they'd be a good combination. I don't know, because there's a reason why he bought him out. It'll be interesting to see when everyone's fit what he actually chooses to do when he's got a bit of time. But anyway, let's move on to the next caller. This is a wild shout. Mike, he thinks by the end of this season, Mainoo is going to be recognised as a top 10 midfielder in the Prem.
I want to hear this.
That's an early call. It's been one game, guys, but he does look very good. He does look very good. Mike, are you with us?
Hello, Mike.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. How are you guys doing?
Oh, it's my guy, Mike. How you doing, Mike? You good?
How you doing, my guy?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's good to hear you. I'm glad you're on.
Well, I mean, Mike, top 10 midfielder in the Prem for Mainoo. It's 18 years old by the end of this season. I mean, are you just going off the Everton performance? What makes you jump to that conclusion? Of course, he's got so much potential, but you are going very early.
Listen, I'm not saying he's wrong, but I'm excited to hear Mike out. Let us know, Mike. Tell us why.
So first with Mainoo, I've been watching him in the academy days. I did an article about him that I write for about like 18 months ago. Yeah. I watched a lot of his tape, and he's so special in the academy. The FA Youth Cup run that he had with Dan Gore and Isaac Hansen Aaron, he was so good in that. And then this past preseason, I went to the Arsenal game in New Jersey. I went to see him live, and I haven't watched that many football matches live, but I've seen a few, especially when I was in Greece, and that was one of the best 45 minutes I've seen from a midfielder. Especially when you compare the fact that he's 18 and the midfielders he was going up against, like the likes of Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice, who was the big summer signing for Arsenal this summer, and he looked like he belonged on that pitch with them. You could even say that he outplayed them.
Yep.
And obviously the injury was unfortunate against Real Madrid, because that would have been another good test, because the likes of Camavinga were on the pitch, Tchouaméni, so that was unfortunate. And then yesterday, when you look at the atmosphere, I'm sure everyone talked about going to Goodison away. Everton just got the points deduction. It was going to be so rowdy in there. And from the first minute, you just looked like he was in his element. He was so calm, so poised, picking up the ball. When he received the ball, instead of punting it like Casemiro would do, for example, he just kept driving with the ball. And his defensive instincts were absolutely incredible. He won 100% of his tackles. That goal line clearance, not many players would have the IQ and instincts to go get that. So for me, it's just like the ability is there. It's just continuing his confidence and just getting the ability to show his potential. And by the end of the season, I don't think that there really is 10 midfielders better than him ability-wise in the Premier League.
Mate, I agree, and I think a lot of Manchester United fans that have been watching Mainoo come through, the different age ranges, aren't surprised by this performance and this confidence and this technical ability. We know about him, and it's funny how a lot of rival fans are now saying, "Oh, look at you talking about it." We knew this was coming, and we knew what we saw in pre-season. This isn't a surprise. I liken him to when you see big clubs bring young players through. If you talk about Barcelona with Gavi and Pedri, and you talk about Musiala, you talk about Bellingham, they heralded these big clubs for bringing these players through and giving them that game time and the license to be themselves and to show what they can do on the big stage. But when it's Manchester United, there seems to be a bit of a thing that, we can't do that. No. The young players, Garnacho got it for a little bit as well. With Mainoo, do you fully believe he's a talent to be reckoned with, the Pedris and the Gavis, and he could be up there fighting with these players for years to come? Do you think he's that good?
Yeah, I think when you look, there's another player in PSG, Warren Zaire-Emery, for example. We just saw what he did against AC Milan in Champions League, and I watched. I think it was an under-17 game. I think it was like an under-17 Euros, and it was Mainoo versus Zaire-Emery, and Mainoo absolutely dominated him that game. And Zaire-Emery's a physical midfielder. We saw what he did against Milan. He was going up and down the pitch with ease, and Mainoo is just as physical. And I think I tweeted this in August. I said I think he's a better player than Gavi, just ability-wise. Obviously, Gavi has the La Masia attacks. He has all that aggression in him, the dog, as we like to say. So that gets a lot of hype about him. But I think on the ball, I think Mainoo can be just as good as most of them. Pedri maybe not, because I think Pedri is like maybe a different ilk. Yeah. I think he's a very generational talent, but I think he can be just as good as them. And come June, obviously the Euros are coming up. There's an open midfield spot next to Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham.
Do you think he gets it?
I think
Southgate will.
I think politics get in the way of that, but if it wasn't for politics, I think Kobbie Mainoo is actually the perfect player to go into that system and be the perfect complement to Declan Rice.
I hear it.
Just honestly, Mike, I know it's weird because he's only played one game in the Premier League, so it's strange to be thinking about that. But honestly, I was thinking about that this morning. Mainoo, if he does start in midfield for the rest of the season for Man United, which I think if he plays anything like he did against Everton, he has to. He has to start against Galatasaray for me. He's one of the first names on the team sheet already, which is crazy. There is no excuse for Gareth Southgate to be not even at least taking him. And I think to Declan Rice, he would be great. I agree with you. But what's mental to me with Kobbie Mainoo is like there was rumours that City were looking to go in for him, weren't they? I completely believe them rumours because he, like Gary Neville said, he literally looks like a player that Pep Guardiola would absolutely love. Absolutely. And the potential is just off the charts. I mean, the fact that Declan Rice has been probably sign of the season. It's been amazing for Arsenal. Yet in pre-season, Kobbie Mainoo outplayed him. Like that just shows where we're at. But Mike, what would be your starting midfield three then for Man United against Galatasaray?
I'd probably stick with the same one, to be honest. I really wouldn't make any changes. We're obviously light in midfield now because Mount's injured, Eriksen's injured, Casemiro's injured, so I don't like McTominay. I'm not his biggest fan, but it was a winning midfield on Sunday. I wouldn't really chop and change it.
Let's keep it
and just continue it. Also, with mine was like this upcoming week, he passed the Goodison test. Now he has Turkey away, which is probably the most hostile atmosphere you could go into, and then St. James Park, which might be the most hostile atmosphere to go into the Premier League these days. So if he passes all three of these tests, you could say like the sky's the limit with him, and that's just the kind of player that he is. So
I agree. Yeah. You've got me on board now. I agree. He could be the top 10 midfielders in the Premier League end of the season.
You're going way too early on that, but he does look.
Let us get excited, Beth. We don't have much to grab onto at the moment, so Mainoo is that shining light, I think, for this Manchester United team at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely shining light and absolutely has to start. Mike, thank you very much for calling up.
Thank you, Mike.
Great
Good
call.
to speak to you, brother.
Nice to get some positivity in as well. A lot of people in the chat saying we're going over the top, and I feel like we are a little bit, but you know, the thing is, if you guys have actually watched him in the under-21s, which I feel like a lot of you have, or is it under-23s they call it? I watched a lot of them games last year. I went with the team over to the games, and I always said like he's so good, like he's a top quality talent. So hopefully he keeps developing, and like you said, massive week coming up.
Yeah, he accelerated very fast. I think if you look last season, pre-season last season, it was Zidane Iqbal and Charlie Savage. They were the two that were coming through, and everyone was calling for Zidane Iqbal to have minutes, and then he just disappeared from the first team, and it's because of the progression Kobbie Mainoo was making, and he came into the spotlight, and then it's clear Ten Hag has seen something in him from last season, and he's like, right, this is the kid we need to focus on.
Ten Hag definitely has a plan for him.
And he's a similar profile to Frankie de Jong, so he's not having to, hopefully them Frankie de Jong rumours will die now, and we're not having to go back and flirt with him and then obviously just get rebuffed. It would be nice, but
I know people have been harsh on McTominay. I mean, we'll get more callers in, but he's not been absolutely lighting up, but we have been winning with him in the midfield, so he stays.
Well, yeah, it's one of them, like Mike said, it's a winning midfield, stick with it until, it's the same with Maguire and Lindelof. They're playing well, Varane can't get in the team. Sometimes you have to stick with what's hot. I agree with everyone knows I'm not McTominay's biggest fan. I don't think he had a great game yesterday, just more average. And you're hoping when we get some players fit or Amrabat can get a bit of form, he eventually will come out of the team. But at the moment, like you say, you go with what's hot and just ride it out and see if they can keep producing on the pitch, because that's what we want at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So the next call we have in, this is a good debate topic that we can talk about, is Omozolo. I think I'm saying that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. How Aaron Wan-Bissaka should start over Dalot versus Galatasaray. Once again, Dalot, good assist, but like the goal was just incredible. Yeah. And clean sheet. Should you change your defence as a clean sheet? But Wan-Bissaka, best one-on-one defender for me in the world against Zaha, who's really dangerous.
Knows him well from Palace.
I think Ten Hag might be managing this excellently. We'll see what happens. But are you with us?
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Did I say your name right? How do I pronounce it?
Omozolo.
Omozolo. So yes, I got it right.
Good to speak to you.
Good to speak to you. I mean, I nearly called you DZ then. Double A.
Yes.
You're a big Wan-Bissaka fan, so why don't you lead this one?
Yeah, so obviously you're saying you think Aaron Wan-Bissaka should start over Dalot for Galatasaray. I'm going to say you think that's because defensively we're going to have to be a little bit more sound. Galatasaray at home in a dangerous atmosphere with Zaha are going to look to really go at us from minute one. Is this the reason you think Wan-Bissaka gets the nod over Dalot at the starting lineup?
Yes, that's exactly right. And also the reason why is Wan-Bissaka is good and great defensively, but as in Dalot is weak defensively, and they will most likely attack his side the most.
Yeah.
And this is a game where we have to if we have to get a draw, that's a win for us in a way, because that atmosphere is gonna be tough for our players. I don't know if they can handle it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. How do you think, Delo looked decent yesterday, and probably, he'd have a case to say, well, I want to start if we're looking to attack. How do you feel Delo should go into, if he does get the nod? How do you think Delo will best play the game? Do you think he needs to be a bit more cautious or play his normal game? How would you see it if Delo does get the start?
This is versus Galatasaray. He has to be cautious. I cannot how he was bombing up and down versus Everton. You will not want that much from him today against Galatasaray. And also I think the number 10 in Atakotu, I believe that's what it's called. He's also another dangerous player, which I'm just looking at the Galatasaray attacking force, and they are very dangerous, especially down the wing.
Who do you think then, if it is Wan-Bissaka, regardless of who plays at right back, who do you think the perfect person to play ahead of them should be, that's going to give them that protection as well as that obvious outlet if we are looking to attack?
For the back four, I would say our lineup should be Wan-Bissaka. He's going to play Maguire, probably Luke Shaw, left centre back, and Delo left back.
Would you think so? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's much safer that way.
I just don't understand. Luke Shaw's a good left-sided centre back, but I just don't understand why you'd move Shaw to left-sided centre-back when he was so good at left-back at the weekend and provides so much going up the pitch.
I think we need the outlet further up the pitch as well. I don't think Delo, I think he's decent at left-back, but again, I still think that defensive deficiencies are there. When we saw against Copenhagen for their sort of 2 late goals, he was kind of at fault for a couple of those. So do you think we need to be a bit more, the back four should be totally solid? It'll be Lindelof and Maguire. Do you not think there's a case for them two to start together?
I like Lindelof and Maguire, but it's just that the manager like a left-footed left centre back. That's why. So I could see Luke Shaw starting.
I mean, one thing I will ask you is, just someone in the chat said this, I would actually play Wan-Bissaka too, midweek. Not because I don't think Dalo played well. I thought he did against Everton, just because of the type of attackers they have are really kind of tricky and on the counter attack as well can be really threatening. But a lot of people say we should be going there to look to attack them. And Dalo provides a better attacking threat. So could you look at it from the opposite angle?
Yes, I could see that. I could also see that happening, but yes, Wan-Bissaka had an amazing game, but it's that got test her atmosphere. I do not know if our player could handle it. And also, if they score first, if they score first, how would our player react to it? That's how I just rather just get a draw. If we could get a draw, that's a positive for me.
You want to stay in the game for as long as possible and give yourself a chance, don't you? Which sure. I think we can.
I think you look at the game on Sunday yesterday, and the way we did that, we took it to them straight away, got that early goal, and really tried to quieten down their crowd. Do you think United should be looking to do the same on Wednesday? Do you think we need to get that early goal and try and quiet their crowd a little bit?
Yes, and also versus Everton, we got the goal. Then after 24 minutes, they started attacking us more and more.
Yeah.
If we do get the early goal, we should continue going for it, because they're going to come for us, because they know we're going to sit back. They should come for us. We should just go for it and just end the game as soon as possible. Get 2 goals in the first half and be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope so. It's easier said than done, but Omozolo, thank you very much for calling.
Thank you so much. Great call.
Thank you all.
Thank you. It's a topic everyone's talking about. I mean, St James's Park at the weekend, I think Wan-Bissaka definitely plays, especially considering how Dalo got rinsed by Newcastle.
Yeah, well, there is that. But I think it's a good problem to have. We've got players that looking like they're playing well when they're coming in, rather than you saying he needs to come out because he's not playing well. Dalo had a good performance. I'm not his greatest fan, but you have to credit it where it's due. He was good. His cross wasn't great for the goal, but I'll let him off with that. Other than that, he really did put some yards in, and I think they said the manager wants 25 players all playing well or all going to come into the team and do a job, because it gives him the best headache to have. Who do I pick? Because every time I'm picking a side, everyone's performing. And listen, I would go with Wan-Bissaka. I think defensively he shows us up a lot more, especially away from home. It's going to be a really, as we know, tricky game.
This is an interesting one coming out on Twitter from the Daily Mail. It's weird. It's like they were watching the show.
Waiting for us.
Sammy Mockbell says Mainoo has impressed coaches at the England's training facility, not only with his ability but with work ethic as well. Mainoo is described as being super professional, focused, and not a moment's bother by those who have worked with him at St George's, with many believing he is worthy of being fast-tracked through the system into the under-21s. So obviously, I think he's in the under-18s right now. Yeah. They want him to be fast-tracked into the under-21s. Like you said, that's the case for now, but I think if he continues starting for United, even the senior team.
Well, there's a long time from now till March in terms of a lot of football to be played. If he's continuing in the first team, you know, them games in March, hopefully he's shown himself to Gareth Southgate. He may just throw him into one and see how he does.
I still think he'll, even if he played now excellently up until then, I still think he'll miss out just because of Southgate's the way he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'll be interesting to see for sure. Well, let's get the next caller in.
Let's do it.
It's going so quickly. Mustafa, Varane and Ten Hag back Eric. I actually don't think there's anything really going on, to be honest. I think it's just a situation where Varane's not happy he's not starting. Obviously, I never expect a player to be happy about being on the bench. And Ten Hag's said, well, Maguire's playing well, so I can't drop him. I think it's that simple.
You play, like I said before, you're playing who's hot. You're playing, you know, the team that are performing on the pitch at the moment. Obviously, he's been injured and he's come back and he's been left out of the team. I think there's a narrative trying to form with Ten Hag that he's fallen out of all the players. He's trying to force players out, and every time someone's left out or there's something that fans don't agree with, or it's because he doesn't like the player or he's causing issues with the player. That's not always the case. It's sometimes, listen, these are doing it for me right now. And like Maguire, he had to wait for his chance to get back in the team, and that's what he's done. Varane's no different. It doesn't matter if you won 18 Champions League or none. You're the same as every player when you put on the United shirt, and you have to take your chance. Against Copenhagen, he didn't take his chance, did he? So, listen, as much as I love Varane, and I do think he's our best centre-back, and I would love him in the team, I'm not the man you have to impress. We're not the people he has to impress. He has to impress the manager. And at the moment, it doesn't seem for me he's doing it enough to get a starting place.
We'll get Mustafa's thoughts on it. Mustafa, are you with us?
Hi, good afternoon, guys. Can you hear me?
Mustafa, yeah, we can hear you nice and clear.
So you've said here back Eric on the Varane and Ten Hag thing. I mean, explain your thoughts on the situation.
I mean, I'm just with all the Manchester United fans. I mean, I respect Varane. I think he did a lot for world football. He won a lot of titles in Madrid, but the thing that everybody should be talking about is that he didn't really prove himself to Manchester United. I mean, all those titles that he won it for Real Madrid. I mean, it's his job to prove himself to us and the Manchester United fan. And I have to say that since we signed Varane, I haven't really been impressed with him. I mean, most of the games that we have been battered on, Varane was playing. I mean, you talk about, leadership, when those young players, they lose their head, you would think that players like Varane would step in and kind of like show leadership. But he didn't really do it like much for us. I mean, last season he played well. I'm not taking that away from him, but we also have to let the manager, pick the team when he wants to, when he sees fit. They're one of the, at least I think also the last thing that kind of like turned me off about Varane was the Copenhagen game. I mean, we were leading 2-0. We had a player sent off. Evans was taken out. Varane came in. His body language was terrible. It looks like he didn't want to be there. And then the stories started coming out. He had a falling out with Erik Ten Hag. This and this happened. I think, it's simply just that Eric at this point looked at it and said, you know what, Maguire is in form. And I will go with Maguire. I think it's simple as that.
I agree with you on the Copenhagen thing. He was really, really poor in that game. But I do think maybe you are being a little bit reactionary on the whole Varane. He's played in the games we've got battered in, but he's also played in the games where we got most of our clean sheets last season.
Led us to a trophy,
and we end up getting a Golden Glove, and him and Martinez were an excellent combination. I don't think we can take that away from him. So he's had bad moments, but he's had really good moments as well. I think people are kind of only seeing the recency and maybe getting a bit carried away with that, but I do understand you on the point where at the moment Maguire is playing better than him, so Maguire should be starting. But
I agree.
I mean, last but not least, going into the Galatasaray game, going into the Newcastle game, who starts in defence for you? Is it the same as it was going at Everton?
Yes, and then just to go a little back, I love Ryan. I love Ryan, but I'm just at this point I just have to be a fan and support the football club, not just just a player. We're definitely not talking about last season anymore. Varane is one of the highest paid players in our club, and we expect to see performance every day. But against the Galatasaray, I think I will go with the same lineup. Lindelof and Maguire. Right now, Maguire is on top of the form ahead of Ryan, so I will go with the same lineup with Dalot on the right and Luxor on the left.
Interesting
and then the
stuff. Well, thank you, Mustafa, for calling in.
Thank you, Mustafa.
Appreciate that one.
Good call.
I mean, yeah, interesting to see different perspective on the Varane thing. Someone's just said here, I mean, if you could have commented, I'm going to bring it up. Not a single word on Onana's good performance. Tell him.
Listen, the best thing about Onana is, and I think it's great that we're not having to talk about Onana so much. I think, I said it a long time, during the problems he was having. To come into Manchester United as a goalkeeper is already hard enough, and a lot of keepers have come in and struggled ever since sort of Schmeichel left. The one that didn't is Van der Sar, but he was already sort of 35 or something like that. Experienced goalkeeper, world class. For Onana to come in, and it doesn't matter how experienced you are, just playing in a Champions League final or not, to replace, a legend in David De Gea, a team that's looking to progress and build on what was a great season, it was always going to be tricky. It doesn't matter who you are, how experienced you are. What he needed was 5, 6, 7 games of just going under the radar, just doing the normal things, making some good saves, keeping us in games, keeping some clean sheets. That confidence will eventually build and build and build. And then that's exactly what we're seeing now. And yesterday was some fantastic saves. As Greg, the producer, said, some saves he definitely should have made anyway, being a GK. But he kept a clean sheet. And listen, he could have been man of the match yesterday, I think. There was him and Mainoo, for me, were the two standout that could have been man of the match. And I'm happy to see it. It's good that we're not talking about the goalkeeper. It's good that his performances and people that are playing for the team that are taken away from him, and the spotlight's not so much on him anymore. And I only expect him to get better and better and eventually become the keeper that we thought we were getting, and seeing what a world-class keeper that he actually is. Yes,
I agree. Don't know if I'd say he's world-class yet.
Not for us, but I think he is. I think he showed last season he had world-class form.
Yeah.
I think if he can maintain that and keep that consistency doing that for us, there's nothing to say he won't be a world-class goalkeeper.
Of course, I'm really glad he's turned the corner on people.
I bet you are.
I've seen that. I have. My DMs have calmed down. Next up, we have Oren Riley coming into the chat. Oren, are you here?
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks, it's good to be here. It's good to be here.
Good to speak to you.
I don't know if you've got something covering your mic. I can't really hear you properly.
Is this better? Or
that's a lot better. I mean, you talk about the plans for the Galatasaray game and taking the Everton game into the Galatasaray game. It's going to be so hard. The atmosphere is going to be super hostile. How do you think Erik ten Hag should approach this game?
See, well, we know how superior the Galatasaray fans are. They're going to be trying to get into the United head straight away. So we just can't concede quick. We can't let that happen, because we're already under so much pressure coming into this game, especially in the Champions League. And I'm aware about Zaha as well, and I'm sure United are. He'll probably be playing on the left wing, and Dalot played great yesterday, but Wan-Bissaka, because we all know he's one of the best defenders in the world at one-on-one defending. So Bissaka has to start, really.
Yeah, absolutely. If we talk about yesterday, what was the best things to come out of yesterday? If you had sort of the top three big talking points of that game, what you was impressed with the most, what would you say from the Everton game really impressed you with Manchester United yesterday, and how can we use that for Wednesday?
So, actually, funny enough, my dad is an Everton fan, and he was telling me that.
Oh,
are you still there, Oren?
I think you've disconnected. Wait, hold on. Just rewind 10 seconds. You just cut out. So you were up to your dad is an Everton fan.
Yeah, and he was telling me how much the Everton fans will put off the players. But we got off to the dream start, really. Exactly. And Garnacho scored one of the goals of the decade, really. So that's definitely a positive to take out as well. And Onana as well, he deserves a lot of praise because he got a lot of slack off the fans when he came in for his mistakes.
Yeah.
But now he's starting to turn it around, and I'm delighted for him, really.
Exactly. I think what you say there is spot on. To get an early goal in Turkey would be absolutely brilliant to settle the nerves a little bit, because I do think a lot of the time it's mentality with United. For example, against Everton, we obviously went 1-0 up, and then Everton had a really good spell. And you think then if Everton do put one of them chances away, I don't know if we go on and win that game. I really don't. But then when you get the penalty and you get the 2-0, you saw how much we calmed down, and we just played the game out. And that's exactly what this team needs. I think they need sometimes a little bit of security around them.
It was belief. I think that's what it was. The best word to describe it was belief, that we could go on and win and could keep a clean sheet and play some okay football, especially in that second half. Oren, for you, it's interesting to know. We talk about Garnacho and that fantastic goal. Do you start him on Wednesday? Do you give him a chance to take that confidence from that obviously world class goal and see what he can do in what will be a cauldron atmosphere in Turkey on Wednesday?
Yeah, no. If I was Eric, I'd 100% start him, and plus Rashford is suspended for this game, but his form hasn't been great this season at all, really. So, but Garnacho definitely deserves to start anyway, and see if he can make a positive impact straight away.
What about Martial as well? Would you start him, and then Haaland if he's fit? Would that be your front three?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Sorry, yeah. If Martial obviously scored, got the penalty, and would you play him? And then if Haaland's fit, would it be Garnacho, Martial, and Haaland as your front three?
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to tell because Martial had a great game yesterday, but Haaland is on fire in the Champions League, and if Haaland's fit to play, then I'd put Garnacho on the right and Martial on the left and Haaland up front.
Yeah, understandable. I was saying that I found it tough in my head to pick between the front three you just said, or I don't know if Haaland's quite fit enough. Maybe you'd play Martial down a level, Garnacho on the left, and Pellistri on the right. But I would be all for moving Garnacho to the right, just to kind of. I know it's a risk, but to get Martial and Haaland playing together, I think it'd be great. But thank you so much for the call, Oren. Thanks for calling in. Thank you.
Take care, pal.
I mean, interesting stuff.
Yeah, no, you got some good points there. You know, it's going to be a tricky game on Wednesday. I think we have to be buoyed by it. All we can do is enjoy this win and see what we can take from it. Like I said, there's little bits of encouragement there. Over 90 minutes, it's still not great, but we know that. We know this Manchester United team can't consistently play great for 90 minutes. But it's taking bits and using that to spur us on to, we've got some real tricky fixtures coming up. So we need to just take what we can and see if we can keep on bouncing and ticking over and getting there.
Definitely. I mean, Alex Hems, super chat, Mainoo gives me Skulls vibes. Hi, Beth. Thank you. What? I mean, that's again too far for me. Too
I like it. It's high praise.
Alex Hems says, LA, Wahi, remember the name, love you guys. Chris, member for 3 months. Do you think we should start Garnacho, Haaland, Pellistri and Kobe up front? I mean...
That's quite young.
I think you mean Garnacho, Haaland, Pellistri up front and start Kobe, not start Kobe up front. But, I mean, you could see a team where they all start and I wouldn't be against it. 100% wouldn't be against it.
I think you need some experience in there. That's quite a young front three, I think. And I think with Martial showing a bit of form, or glimpses of what he can do, I think he'll use that experience on Wednesday for sure.
I agree. I think Martial has to start, but I'm saying that front three in general doesn't upset me.
No, I love it. And Pellistri came on again, was involved in the third goal. For me, I keep saying it, he's our best winger because he's not greedy and he wants to create. And he did some great wing play when he come on yesterday. And, we're screaming for him to get some minutes and some chances. I think this is the perfect time for him to do that. And what I love most is that there's players coming on, starting that up front that are starting to show form, and it puts pressure on Rashford, puts pressure on other forward players. That when you're in the team now, you have to perform and create and score goals.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got quite a few callers to get through, and the show's running out, so we're going to get them on. A big topic in the chat, actually, I've noticed, is Amrabat or McTominay. For me, that's quite easy right now, but I'll get a caller's thoughts on it. Logan, are you with us?
Hello, Logan.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I was just looking to talk about midfield and stuff going really forward, to be honest. Because I feel like this season, to be honest, would be probably quite a write-off. But I feel like maybe building for the next while. I think I know a lot. Mark's had to say on Casemiro and stuff leaving. I don't think this season is the season. But going forward, I've heard a lot of people in like the chats and stuff saying about like Amrabat, send them back to Fiorentina and stuff. But I think with him and Mainoo, we could actually create a pivot that actually doesn't need us to get our midfield just overrun constantly.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Interesting stuff. Well, I will ask you the question then, because a lot of people have been talking about in the chat. McTominay, obviously, big goal threat. He's been part of a winning team. Really big goal threat for his country as well. Amrabat is coming. We expected a lot from him. He's not really been able to pick up the form that we thought we'd see when he played for Fiorentina. Looked a little bit leggy. I mean, a lot of people saying play Amrabat over McTominay. Do you think that's the move? Because I'm going to be honest, personally for me, McTominay stays in over Amrabat at the moment. But
personally, I'm Scottish, and even me, I just don't like McTominay. Like, I've had arguments with my dad, my little brother, constantly. I just don't like the boy. I think he's a very nice guy and stuff. Like, I've got a mate who knows him from like the Scotland dressing room and stuff.
Yeah.
He said he's a shy guy, but like shy, quite quiet apparently, just head down, get the job done. But like for me, he's just like the way, like, see if you just sat, like sometimes some games I just sit and watch him and like he ghosts, like he just sits behind someone.
Yeah.
And just he deliberately, it's almost like he's deliberately doing it.
Yeah, you need more from him. You need more, because obviously yesterday he played 90 minutes. He had the least touches of anyone that played 90 minutes, 40 to Mainoo 61, who only played 67 minutes. And it's this constant game passing by, ghosting, not being, you know, I need you involved more. I need you to offer me more when you're playing in that midfield. It's okay playing as an attacking threat if you're being put up top and we want you to get a goal, that's absolutely fine. But when you're alongside someone like a Mainoo, for him to show you up and show you how it's done in that position as an 18-year-old, really should hit home.
It's not the same position though, because McTominay's playing more as an 8.
But he has played that position.
Oh, he's not. He's definitely not a 6.
Yeah, well, exactly. We didn't think really Mainoo could have been, but we saw yesterday that he absolutely can be. What I mean is
the only thing.
Sorry.
The only thing I've actually seen McTominay do well at is goal score, but he's not playing striker. So why are we playing a midfielder just because he scores goals?
I agree with you in the sense of I don't think long term McTominay is a starter, and I've always said I don't think he's a starter long term. I think he's a squad player because he has attributes like, you know, defensive capabilities of corners, good in the air, and can score good goals. Mm-hmm. But long term doesn't provide enough over the course of 90 minutes, of course. But at the moment, the way he's been, you know, the team's been functioning with him in there, I think he does have to continue. But you mentioned Logan in the chat that you put in of how Mount's going to get integrated. I know he's injured at the moment, but this is a big question mark for a lot of people right now.
I think like as like you've said with Amrabat as well, we've not really given the chat. Like obviously Mount, there's a reason why Ten Hag's not picking him now. Like obviously, like, he's meant to be this Ten Hag signing that he's obsessed with, but he's not playing. I think going forward, like he's an energetic player. Like we've not really had that in the midfield in a while. Going back to like Matic, Fellaini, the likes of then Casemiro. Even like they're not energetic. Casemiro, fair enough, reads the game, but like but Ten Hag went after Frankie De Jong. Two players that are really like that are Mount and Mainoo. Like I'm not saying they're anywhere near the talent of him yet. Like they play with on the ball. Like Casemiro, like Man City have Rodri, who's good on the ball.
Yeah.
Liverpool have McAllister, who's good on the ball. Casemiro's take the ball, give it to the players who are good on the ball. We need a CDM who can progress the ball as well. And I love Casemiro. Like I swear, until a few games ago, he was. I think he might even still be. He is our top goal scorer, but I would still love to see like a midfield that's like energetic, like a Mainoo, Mount, Bruno. But
okay,
I'd like that.
I don't know. But like it's an energetic midfield that like this is for seasons going forward. I think this season's just get through the season, back Ten Hag. Like people who say Ten Hag, like I heard Faz the other week say, Ten Hag needs to go get Zidane, and he was so like set in his ways. But I was like, I don't get how like Arteta got 4 years, and I know I'm not comparing it to Arsenal, but we've given the man a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like not even, and like everyone's like, oh yeah, get rid of the man. But I think he's a good manager, so I would stay by him now.
I think so.
No, Logan, absolutely. Yeah. Ten Hag needs time, and for example, with the Mount thing, it's not worked yet, but maybe with time to integrate it, you could see that. And he's got a plan. We've invested heavily. I know a lot of people right now are questioning the signings, including myself. But you've got to stick with him through. I mean, I think he's earned the right to be given the time. Yeah.
100% deserves this season. Yeah.
Logan, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate
Logan.
that.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Okay, bye.
We'll go straight into the next caller. We've got Ronald on the show, wants to defend Bruno. I've not heard anyone slagging Bruno off for a while. Again, I thought
I saw a little bit yesterday in the first half, but that tends to happen when United out firing all cylinders.
He came to life in the second half, I agree.
Of course.
But still, like, he gets so overhated, so I'm going to like Ronald. Ronald, you want to come on and defend Bruno. I still think Bruno is an excellent captain. I think he's an excellent player. Yeah. I love him to bits. And he gets a lot of stick. So, Ronald, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I'm here for the conversation about Bruno Fernandes. And I apologize for my voice not being the best. I'm under the weather. But
get better soon.
Hi, Bet, and hi, Double A. So, yeah, I'm here for the conversation about Bruno Fernandes because I've heard a lot of things from pundits and everyone about Bruno Fernandes not being be the guy, and he's not the captain material. People wanted to see Casemiro and Varane as captains instead of Bruno Fernandes, but we can see exactly what Bruno Fernandes does on the pitch.
Yeah.
I think he's the only player who has not been injured for the last many seasons. His availability is a key factor. He gives everything on the pitch. And yesterday, he could have been a very selfish captain and taken the penalty, but he gave the confidence back to Rashford, which could be a start of something that we might actually see in the near future. So I really don't get it and understand exactly how people are wanting to have this difficult conversation about selling Bruno as well, because I've heard a lot of people say, sell Bruno if we get 100 million. I'm not sure where we're getting that from, but I'll be honest with you, I don't see Bruno leaving Manchester United anytime soon, and especially if Erik ten Hag stays in the position he's in, I think he's in for the long run.
Yeah. Do you think with Bruno? I agree with everything that you say, and I absolutely love Bruno. I think since he's come to the club, he's been our best player by some way, and I'm happy that he's captain personally. Do you think that the way he plays football, the risk taker that he is, the risky passes, the wanting to always look to create and to score? Do you think that, coupled with him being the captain of Manchester United, is now an easy way for people to beat him with, a stick to beat him with, and to make him the scapegoat? Do you think it's just a natural disaster waiting to happen, that all these things that he is, when things aren't going well, it's easy to blame Bruno Fernandes rather than looking at the bigger picture and the bigger problems within the team?
Yeah, I mean, people are going to blame anyone and everyone when they want to. But if you think about it realistically, I remember the game against Bayern Munich, right? We were about to lose that game about, I think, 4-1. Mm-hmm. The last 2 goals happened just because of Bruno Fernandes. He did turn the game around. He did turn, the passes. I know he's wasteful at times, but you have to be creative and you have to be wasteful for being creative.
Yeah.
Not everything's going to be ballpark, pinpoint. Yeah. And okay, let's just say 10 passes, accurate 10 ones. Do we know the strikers are going to finish that? We don't.
No.
So it happens, and people need to understand that, yes, that's how Bruno plays. He's giving you the best risk-taking ability in the team. If Bruno stops creating, who's our creator? Eriksen. He's not even there.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with everything that you are saying, Ronald.
Absolutely.
I think Bruno is top draw. And, people don't rate him, that's fine. Everyone has different opinions. But for me, he's just, I absolutely love him. And I think he's so important to his team.
And the main thing is his teammates love him and the manager loves him. And that's enough for me, because I think we're a lot worse without him in the team for me.
And everyone behind the scenes too.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. But, the main people, the teammates and his manager all back him, and they want him to be captain, and that means most.
He seems like it's a very good relationship with the youth players coming through, like Mainoo, Garnacho, that interview did with him yesterday. I mean, it's nice to see. But thank you very much,
Ronald, for bringing up. Great call. Take care.
I like a positive call.
Yeah, before I leave, I'm just going to leave you both with one question.
Okay.
I know not a lot of people are going to talk about it. You might not even think, but who would you choose between Amrabat and Sabitzer?
Sabitzer did more. If you look at it right now, obviously Sabitzer has had a little bit longer, but I think Sabitzer did more. You think of those goals in the Europa League, but it's a tough one, because I don't think we've seen the true Amrabat yet.
No, I agree.
think we've seen everything that probably Sabitzer probably could have offered us. I think there's more to come from Amrabat, so I'm probably gonna choose him just because I'm hoping that we see the true Amrabat in a Manchester United shirt.
I think for what this team needs, Amrabat, but Sabitzer was better.
Yeah.
in the loan spell that he had than what Amrabat's been so far.
So far, yeah.
And Sabitza's doing very well for Dortmund now, but I still don't think Sabitzer was the level we needed. But we'll see on Amrabat.
Yeah. What about you, Ronald? Quickly.
Yeah.
Who would you choose?
I would actually choose Savitzer because in the same amount of games, he actually provided me more. I felt more comfortable with him. He did not give away the ball cheaply. He did not cost us 2 goals in any game that I can remember. Amrabat has given us a goal against Crystal Palace, the other one against, I guess, City. So if you look at a wider perspective, like Planet Faz always says, zoom out, bring in context, look at a realistic picture. So in that ways, yes, like Beth said, Amrabat is exactly what we need, but we do have Kobe Mainoo for that. So why not have a player like Sabitzer who was 10 million cheaper than what it would cost to get Amrabat? You have to think of it financially as well.
They're very different players, and on that I would say Mainoo is injured in the summer, and if we hadn't signed Amrabat, we would have been going into the season with just Casemiro, which obviously wasn't enough. So I think it was necessary. And Sabitzer and Amrabat do play different positions, but I completely get your point.
Yeah, I think Sabitzer will be fighting with Mount and Eriksen and.
That's what I mean. You've already got Mount,
it's
Bruno,
too stacked
and Eriksen,
where we need that cover further back, especially with Casemiro being out of form. But no, some great points, and like say, I did like Marcel Sabitzer, and it's just a shame that he didn't really do enough to come to Manchester United. But Ronald, thank you so much for your call. It's been great to speak to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tom talking about consistency with Erik ten Hag. That's what we need.
Interesting.
That is what we need. I mean, He's doing all right in the league. Our form, the performances might not be, but
people talking about he's going to get manager of the month. I think
he will.
Won every game, yeah.
I think he will. I think he has to. But next up, last caller of the day, we have Tom talking about Ten Hag's consistency. Tom, are you with us?
Hi, Tom.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, guys. You all right?
Yeah, good to speak to you. Yeah, fire away. What is it about Ten Hag and the consistency you want to talk to us about?
So in his press conferences when he kind of. He tries to obviously give us all optimism that the team are trying and that everyone's together and that they're all trying to sing from the same hymn sheet.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've not seen that in the performances translated on the pitch. We've seen obviously the times where it has happened. When we've come back against Brentford or we've beaten Everton 3-0 thanks to a worldie for one in a million. What I can't understand is that why hasn't that been applied before? And what we need to do now moving forward is we need to turn these quotes into performances on the pitch. I mean, starting Mainoo, could he have started last game? Could he have started before? Obviously he starts them when they're ready. But again, it's kind of, why wait to do these things? We need action, obviously. And that's why all of us as United fans need to obviously support the team and give them everything we can. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same old. When we lose, we're going to hate on one player or criticise every little tweet they do or whatever they're doing in their private life. So what I'm trying to say is the consistency needs to come from Ten Hag's press conferences. It needs to be translated onto the pitch, regardless of what's going on in the world and when we lose, essentially.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely spot on. Do you think he lost his way a little bit this season? You think with everything that was going on, it's almost like the house was burning down and he's... Mark said it so many times, it's been survival football. It's just doing what he can to get by. And now we're seeing the injuries are all, players are coming back. We're starting to get a real healthy squad again. Do you think now is the time, with the Mainoo performance, that consistency might start to creep in with Erik ten Hag and he's starting to put the plans into action? Do you think you'll start to see it now?
Yeah, it needs to come from more than one player. I think Rashford needs to get his head out the clouds. It sounds like he's doing that now in a way. Yeah. Everyone's hated the past few games, and the fact that Ten Hag just seems to think that he's going to score one goal is going to unlock who he used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, form is temporary, class is permanent. At the end of the day, when it comes to things like that, he has purple patches, and yes, he might be back. Maybe things might be better now he's got his missus back. Who knows, based on these things. But it needs to translate across the board, whether it's new signings or players we don't like that need to leave. We can't just hate on one player. It needs to be across the squad, and it needs to be, in every game they play. That's not just what they're paid to do. They've got to want to do it, and not just turn up like all of us turn up to work or school every day and go, oh, I'm bored, I can't be bothered, whether that's a game they have or a bad day they have or something. It needs to happen consistently.
Tom, absolutely. We've lacked in so many so many different areas on the pitch this season. I mean, there's been some good points, but performances overall haven't been up to standard. But the points are there. We've survived. Hopefully, we can keep building on it with good performances and 3-0 wins like we saw against Everton. But lastly, to kind of end the show on, we've got a good super chat in from Duncania saying, not sure if it's been mentioned, but I can see some kind of Varane de Ligt loan swap with Bayern. Both seem out of favour. Thoughts? I mean, would you be up for Varane de Ligt swap?
Definitely. In terms of the way kind of what seems to be happening is, they have a bad experience or they don't get played, i.e. Sancho, i.e. Varane. And then obviously other people are getting ahead of him and they don't like that. And then all these rumours start to swirl as a result. And then we don't know what's happening. I'd love to have de Ligt. I think we should have had him before he left Ajax. But obviously financial constraints or wherever the player wanted to go. But yeah, I'd have de Ligt. I'd also have Todibo, without a shadow of a doubt. That needs to be done in
January,
as soon as possible.
I'd say January needs to be
January,
done.
that needs to be done. Hopefully there's no conflicts with the Sir Jim thing. I really hope that doesn't hold anything up. But would you swap de Ligt?
I think if you like the previous caller was saying, if you zoom out and look at everything rather than just at face value now, I think you look at what de Ligt's still 24, is he 24, 25? I think.
Yeah.
Against a 30-year-old who's injury prone, it makes perfect sense. We're going to get a lot
24,
more.
24,
yeah.
Wow,
We're going to get
I didn't
a lot
realise he
more.
was still that young.
Because he started so young, at 18, whatever it was. He's been around for it seems like forever. But yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. I don't think it's a deal that will ever happen. I can't see United and Bayern swapping high-profile players like that, and I don't think we'll dip into the market. I think they'll ask for a ridiculous price for a player like that. But if it was offered to me now, I'd absolutely take it. I think the Varane thing is odd, and I think if he can't get back into the team, he's only going to want to go because he's got ambition, he's got levels, he wants to play, he's coming to the twilight of his career, he's going to want to have minutes as much as he can. He's not like Maguire who's going to sit around and wait for a chance to play for Manchester United. Varane won't do that. So if we're going to bring a 24-year-old in who has shown he's got class and has got talent.
Not been great for Bayern, has he? But...
Well, no, but I think, we see a lot of that with a lot of players that go there do tend to not play to the level that they've had previously. I think Upamecano's been another one that's not been great over there as well. And I know a manager that he knows in Ten Hag. It could be him and Todibo could be a great partnership, or Martinez to come back into the foil as well. It's three good young centre-backs that can take us on for another 10 years, and we don't have that. We have a lot of 30 to 29-year-olds. We need to start bringing them younger players that we get their prime, even though they're not 18-year-olds, but from 24 to 27, 28, that's the market we should be looking at, like you've said plenty of times.
We're in the same predicament. We're in the same predicament of like where players have come in, like Amrabat, who was amazing in Fiorentina in the World Cup, and some people would start Sky over him, or Varane, because he's not being picked, he's not playing well, and then like you're saying, are we gonna sign players who are really good and they're gonna come in and then be rubbish for us, or just not be quite what they used to be, like Sancho when he was at Dortmund, amazing, comes in. Yes, he has some good patches, and then now look at him. Look what's happened.
I mean, pressure and systems have a lot to do with what the outcome is on the pitch, but we are running out of time. So, Tom, thank you very much for your call.
Thank you.
Cheers,
really,
guys.
really good points there. Thank you. Duncania,
you.
last super chat of the day, says can't see Todibo in Jam while Nice are challenging. That is true. Nice are doing very well in Ligue 1, but it'd be great to get him if we could. But we've got to wrap up the show. Thank you everyone for watching. Hit a like on the video if you enjoy the call-in shows, and if you want to call up on the next one, make sure you join our Discord. The link is in the description. Link also in the description for the Manchester Christmas show. We want to see you all there if you can get here. The day after, it's on the Monday, the day after is Bayern Munich, and that could be the Champions League hopes all rest on that game. If if you're in Manchester, come along. If you're not, why don't travel up and watch the game at the same time? But thank you everyone for watching. Double A, great as always.
Great to be here as always, Beth.
And we'll see you on Wednesday. But thank you everyone for watching. Have a lovely rest of your evening, and we'll see you on the next one.